Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from Frontier. Thank you kindly for stopping by. Do take a look at an interview I did day before yesterday with Gladys Makumi, who's the Director of Corporate Finance at Deloitte, and very interesting perspective on the region in particular. We were on the sidelines of a private equity conference here in Nairobi. Macro thoughts. If you're with the Bank of Japan, look away now. Yen just crossed the threshold, poised for its biggest monthly gain since 1998. This was one of my conviction trades at the beginning of the year, January 11th. I said one of my conviction trades for 2016 is to buy the yen against just about everything. Home thoughts, E.E.Cummings. It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. That's very powerful. E.E.Cummings, very pithy. David Yarrow, the mountain gorillas are awesome animals, and Rwanda's recovery as a country is equally awesome. E.E.Cummings again, trust your heart if the seas catch fire, live by love, though the stars walk backward. I like my body when it is with your body. It is so quite new a thing. Muscles better, nerves more. I like your body. I like what it does. I like its hows. I like to feel the spine of your body and its bones, and the trembling, firm smoothness, which I will again and again and again kiss. I like kissing this and that of you. I like slowly stroking the shocking fuzz of your electric fur. And what as it comes over parting flesh and eyes, big love crumbs, and possibly I like the thrill of under me, you so quite new. E.E.Cummings probably didn't read it that well. A little bit uncomfortable with the content. Seemed a little bit feisty. Political reflections for anyone who watches even casually the great game that is international politics. Only one fact is certain: no set of circumstances are permanent. Washington, at least for the foreseeable future, would likely dominate any kinetic conflict. No wonder China is building things like the carrier killer missiles and anti-satellite weapons. I included, as I concluded in that piece I wrote in 2013, that the US needs to press its advantage because that hard power advantage is set to erode over time. There's something a little Bruce Lee about crime-fighting new Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, said Curtis S. Shinn. Of course, he's got a very robust attitude towards crime. Tom Newton Dunn, a text arrives from a senior Team Boris figure. Gove is a CUNT who set this up from the start. Tom, who's the editor of The Sun, says this is going to be bloody. Theresa May and Gove obviously have thrown their hats into the ring. JP Morgan, our base case is that Scotland will vote for independence and institute a new currency. ISIS praises BREXIT for destabilizing Crusader Europe in propaganda newspaper. Article written by propagandists inside the so-called Islamic State. Jubilantly noted shock in political and economic circles after Friday's results and the ensuing drop in the value of the pound and market volatility. It also latched onto the separatist ambitions in some areas of the UK and the prospect of second independence referendum in Scotland, as well as calls by nationalist parties elsewhere in Europe for similar votes on EU membership, threatening the disintegration of the Union as a whole. This was posted by Prime Minister Trudeau at the summit table, rather grand I thought, and then this selfie with President Obama, one more for the road. Soros says Brexit has unleashed a financial markets crisis. Britain's decision to leave the European Union has unleashed a crisis in financial markets, similar to the global crises of 2007 and 2008. George Soros told the European Parliament in Brussels on Thursday. This has been unfolding in slow motion, but Brexit will accelerate it. It is likely to reinforce the deflationary trends that were already prevalent. Soros has warned that a hard landing in China is practically unavoidable, arguing that its debt-fueled economy resembles the US at the onset of the financial crisis. Continental Europe's banking system hasn't recovered from the financial crisis and will now be severely tested, Soros said. We know what needs to be done. Unfortunately, political and ideological disagreements within the Eurozone have stood in the way of using the European stability mechanism as a backstop. The decision meant that the hypothetical became very real. Sterling plunged, Scotland threatened to break away. Some of the working people who supported the Leave campaign have started to realise the bleak future that both the country and they personally face. Even the champions of Leave are retracting their dishonest pre-referendum claims about Brexit. The Euro region is lagged behind other regions in the global recovery following the last financial crisis because of restrictive fiscal policies. Now it has to contend with an impending slowdown. The orthodoxy of German policymakers stands in the way of the only effective response, having a Eurozone budget that could adopt counter-cyclical policies. Every bank in the world is chasing the Saudi Aramco deal. It's going to be a fees fest for investment banks. No one else in the Middle East, and maybe even emerging markets globally, is embarking on such deep reforms. The Aramco IPO loan could generate at least $50 million in banking fees, according to an estimate. ECB's Constancio, restoring confidence in Eurozone banks is a priority. Banks are the worst sector this year, with Deutsche Bank down 44%. Credit Suisse beats Deutsche and races to the bottom despite rotten year. Another tweet from Holger. Have a look at this slide of the currency performance in June. As you can see, the yen had a tremendous June, rallied very sharply. Currency markets: euro 111.23, dollar index 95.63, dollar yen 102.78, the pound still on the move higher 134.80, Aussie 0.7438, Indian rupee 67.535, South Korean won 11.5413, the real 324.44, Egyptian pound 8.8810, South African rand 14.77. That's had a good rally as well. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. It's holding above that key level of 93 and is expected to do that. Commodity markets had their best quarter since 2010. Look at who the outperformers were in this image. Gold last trading at 13.1920. 1319.20. That remains very well supported near 1300. Top of the range is 1350 for now. US producer, the marginal supplier and price setter into the global market. The Platts oil expert continued. Drilled but uncompleted wells hold reserves that can be brought online in a shorter period of time, therefore defining the concept of spare capacity. It is plausible to believe that US spare capacity may be close to rivaling OPEC's current spare capacity. However, we believe that the prices needed to incentivize the US producer to complete their drilled but uncompleted wells may be much lower than global competitors believe or would like it to be. Texas alone can introduce 1.25 million barrels of oil into the global market and can do so in a short space of time, on average just 30 days. That's more oil than the Saudis have threatened to flood the market with. October 2014, I raised this point and I said it is the US that is the new price setter for the oil markets, and this is a deep and important geopolitical development. New price levels will have immediate and enormous geopolitical and financial knock-on effects. It will place intolerable pressure on oil producers, and particularly those operating from a higher base price. Brent crude rises back above $50, recovers nearly all the post-Brexit losses. Sub-Saharan Africa, South African all shares up 2.36% this year. Dollar rand back towards the top of the range for the rand, which is about 14.40 or 14.25. Egyptian EGX 30 is down 0.91% this year. Black market and forwards say the Naira has further to fall. Have a look at this chart that Anthony from Bloomberg has posted. The Nigerian all shares up 4.09% this year. Ghana Stock Exchange is down 10.42% this year. ExxonMobil is considering buying stakes in natural gas discoveries off Mozambique made by Anadarko Petroleum and Eni Spa. And this would potentially give the government a windfall, a tax windfall, talking about it in the region of $1.3 billion. And that would be well received because they're under tremendous financial pressure right now. Huge helium gas find in East Africa averts medical shortage, according to independent analysts. Natural store of helium found in the Rift Valley in Tanzania contains an estimated 54 billion cubic feet of the noble gas. So this is a significant find. KenGen issued the results of their rights issue. They fell short of their 28.7 billion shilling target. A 92% subscription, of course, 70% was locked in, that was the government. So you actually got a 2/3 subscription of what was left over. Total ask was 28.7 billion. All applicants will receive 100% of the new shares applied for, said their company secretary. These shares will start trading at the NSE on Wednesday. If you're interested in looking at KenGen share price, that link is on the website as well. Nation Media released a statement talking of embarking on implementing a new strategic direction. And then it was interpreted as scaling down broadcast operations, closing down QTV and frequency radio stations to only stream. Nation Media is down 21.465% this year. Kenya shilling seriously Teflon, as I've said before. Nairobi all share is at a 5-month low, down 4.38% this year. Kenya Airways is at a strong June, up 14.66% this month alone. That was the talk of Qatar. NSE 20 is at May 2012 lows and down 10.19% this year, down 115 points since the Brexit announcement. Let me just read what I wrote yesterday. I was starting off with sterling. Sterling managed to grind out a gain, 134.33. It got to yesterday, it's now at 134.84. Of course, the low was below 132. It remains, I think, prone to falling back. This rebound has the feel of a short covering rally. Angela Merkel placed pressure on Prime Minister Cameron to expedite Article 50, which is the trigger for Britain to leave the EU. My only advice to our British friends is don't delude yourself about the necessary decisions that need to be taken. Nigel Farage, of course, made that extraordinary intervention in the European Parliament. Isn't it funny? When I came here 17 years ago and I said I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain out of the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you? The challenge for UK assets is that we remain in a political vacuum until a new Conservative leader is chosen and a general election is probably held. Shilling remains Teflon, probably exhibiting the lowest beta of any currency in the world over the last few sessions. Post-Brexit sell-off at the stock exchange slowed, with the Nairobi all-share easing just 0.32 points, and the NSE 20 slipping 7.59 points, but considerably less than the falls we'd seen. Kenya Airways up 2.38%, trading at 445, up 5.95% at the close. There's been a lot of buying buy-side interest since the Cabinet Secretary said those words in Belgium. As I said, it's up 14.66% in June. Safaricom's having a strong session today, baseline yesterday. WPP firmed 1.26%, closed at 20, but it's minus 33.33% in this year. KCE unchanged at 33.75, very, very cheap share. Equity most actively traded, firm 0.66%, still down 5% this year. Barclays closed unchanged at a 7.5-year low of 9.55. That means it slumped 29.77%, but incredibly is outperforming its parent, which has slumped even more. The out-vote changes everything about Barclays' investment proposition, according to Joseph Dixon at Jefferies. Once again, thank you for stopping by.